Tonight, Dom is tonight's host, and he's going to be talking to Bryce. They're going to be talking about lead flow and legacy safeguard. Definitely two very, very important things. So I'm excited for the training tonight. So Dom, I'm going to turn everything over to you, and it's all yours, man.
You got me, brother?
I got you, man. It's all you.
Let's rock. Yo, great job, everybody. Those numbers are, I say insane, but I see the people working, and that's the cool thing about all these live rooms and dials that we have available is that right when you think it's too good to be true, then you hop in and see somebody, you see Jonna closing 13 G's in a day. You're like, damn, or you see, like, you just see it. So it's really hard to say it's not happening when you can see it. So appreciate you having myself on as a host, but really, I'm really excited today to have Bryce really share a lot of what I've learned from him over the years. And number one thing is quality of business. Like, who on here put a chat in here if like you're new to the industry, or maybe you have a fear or you want a remedy to like maybe stop the fall off, stop the chargebacks. It makes sense? Or let's just say you're not going to ever alleviate them all the way 100%, but what if we took you from 25% falling off the books to 10% falling off the books? Put a 1 in the chat if that would help you and your family. Because I hear there's a lot of videos that talk about how to get you to close more, but can we talk about how you keep more? Right? I've seen a lot of this, and be clear, I've been on that side. I've been the person who wrote a lot of insurance and 50% of it stayed on the books. Now, put a 1 in the chat if you've been there. I might be the only one. Let me put a 1. Okay. Let me come on now. All right. This is the stuff that's going to make us, or it's going to break us. But sometimes you got to get broken to figure out what the fix is. Okay. And it's really cool to see that I've learned a lot from, like, I've been in the industry 13 years and Bryce has been in the industry, what, 5? Not even 5?
4, yeah.
4. But what really helped me is seeing him and how thorough he is during his process. And there was a lot of the things that maybe I was a little afraid of to say that he's going to get into. And we'll give examples of ways to close or ways to have quality closes. Okay. Big difference, especially in phone sales when there's very little relationship. Okay. And how do you build that relationship? So we're going to finish off with that. But first I want to, get Bryce's take, and, I'm going to share a little bit about what I've been seeing with lead flow, because there's so many different lead types. Okay. Lead flow, and the way we're going to talk about going about leads, and the way FFL talks about going about leads, is aggressive, right? With aggressive lead flow, okay, you're going to have aggressive cash flow, but then we're going to follow it up with good business so that the cash flow stays. Okay. But let's first talk about how do we get this engine going, right? Because everybody's worried about chargebacks, but has no business. All right. Be like, I don't want no chargebacks. I'll be like, yo, you wrote like 3 policies, yo. Like, I'm sorry. Let's figure out how to write more. So let's put the gas in the tank. All right. I've been listening a lot, learning a lot from this new wave of agencies that are growing via telesales. Okay. And I've seen a lot of these guys and girls agencies are using older age leads, okay? And not just how to work them, but the frequency. When you buy them, how, like, all that time. I was talking to Jay Masca, and he's like, yeah, man, we have guys, they buy 75-cent lead, $1 leads. We do it 3 times a week, maybe sometimes 4 times a week. They do it on Monday, they buy them again on Wednesday, they buy them again on Friday. And psychologically, right? And I go, why you do that? He goes, dude, I'm dealing with a lot of first-time business owners. We have to get them in the mode of actually running a business. It's not about how much you invest, it's how often you invest. Because at the end of the month, the amount is going to equal about the same. He was like, dude, my guys spend the same amount as you guys on leads, but we break it up so that they can actually work the leads. If I, new agent, give, I don't know, let me just say Tiffany's brand new agent, right? I give Tiffany, say, hey, go on the CRM, spend $500 on leads. Okay. Tiffany gets 300 leads, 250 leads. Tiffany has no clue what to do with those leads. She goes, I got all these leads, and her expectations are I'm going to kill it. But the reality is, dude, I'm going to get punched in the face. But this is all the money I put in versus going, hey, let's break it up and hey, spend 150 today. Let's work the hell out of those. And let's spend another 150 on Wednesday. Regardless if you make a sell or not, doesn't matter. We're not saying buy more leads if you make a sell. Remember, we have the 500 already put aside for leads. But it's just a matter of, do we dump it all at one time or do we break it up in pieces? Like John Wetmore and Sean, short-term goals and structure. Short-term goals and structure. So we had to break that down and go, okay, let's just shorten this curve up. And I see a lot of people crushing it on gold, silver, and bronze internet leads out of the ILC. Bryce is working with a lot of new agents. That wasn't his track coming up, but he's coaching and working with a lot of new agents. So Bryce, can you talk about that track, right? What that's teaching them, how that's working, and really how you're coaching them through that piece, and to caveat into more real-time, leads and things of that nature, but how to get going.
Yeah. Well, dude, I think it took a minute for us to figure that out coming from the in-home world, because we used to talk about, well, we had the dial day every 2 days, right? The Monday, Thursday dial day. And it used to be, you never want to head into a dial day without fresh leads. So it was easy to create a lead flow because whatever you did the prior couple of days before, it didn't matter. You always had new leads coming into a dial day, right? Like my first day, I bought leads. I had my first day on the phones. You didn't say like, oh, how much got paid? And then you were like, all right, new dial day, new leads. You know what I mean? And so you created a lead flow by having a new leads every dial day. And then we started to transition into telesales, and it's every day is a dial day, right? So then it's like, all right, well, when do we get leads? And I think it took us a minute, unless, for outside of folks that were on some sort of like recurring lead order. So prior to that, it's like, well, how do you create a lead flow? And I think it really comes down to, for one, it's hard to, if you have just a ton of leads on a dial day, it's hard to like effectively work that batch of leads in one day if you have like 150 plus. And then two, you're so much more excited and you're so much more eager to work on a day that you have fresh leads. So that you sometimes in this business, like you gotta like trick yourself into being excited or having fun or like having a positive outlook on your day. And dude, especially coming from what I did before, where I was cold calling and door knocking all day, like I still 4 years later, when I have a batch of fresh leads, like I'm fired up to dial that day. Whereas if you have a batch of, like, if you're just working older leads, you're so much less excited to hit it hard on the phones that day. You know what I mean? And so if you compound a couple days in a row of not being crazy excited about being on the phones because you don't have brand new leads, like that has a negative compounding effect. And so that's what we realize is like, we got to be buying leads at least like every other day. So we're heading into a new dial like every 2 days, we're heading into it with a fresh batch of leads. And to your point, man, well, I think between me and you, we've had 7 new riders this month, and every single first sale has been on a 75-cent bronze lead. And what that does is it's like, for somebody brand new, when you're working bronze leads, you just get so many more reps. Just so many things are so important to like just experience on the phone. Like so much of this business, like anybody that you see that's crushing it here, like nobody is that good. They just have that much more experience. You know what I mean? They're like what's his name? Matt was saying earlier on the call today, like we're on the same page. Some people are just a couple chapters ahead. And so much of this business is just about how much of this can you experience? Like one of the biggest things that brought me confidence in starting out in this is you just have to go have 100 sits. You have to go sit in front of 100 people. Nothing else matters. Don't start overthinking this thing, thinking you're too good or thinking you suck. Like nothing matters until you go have 100 appointments, because that will that will like give you the feel of like almost everything you need to experience, right? And so that's the biggest thing about, you know, having working these bronze leads, is it's just a really low cost way to get a lot of leads, to get a lot of reps, to hear a lot of situations, do like the stuff that brings you confidence in this business is like going through the health questions and knowing what to ask and what the prescriptions are for, right? Knowing what other insurance companies are out there. When somebody says, I have, you know, I talked to Globe Life or AAA or something like that. When you know what that is, you're like, okay, cool. Like I know how to navigate that. But until you talk with somebody, you don't know. So it's like, how fast can you just go out there and just have a ton of conversations and deal with a bunch of stuff in for a low cost way, and then just repeat that over and over. And you know, again, even with bronze, like there's enough people on there that are ready for your help, that while you're experiencing that, you know, assuming you're working, you're going to start creating some income for your business. So I think that's the biggest thing.
Dude, that confidence that you just that you're going to acquire through it, and I think it's more of, you got to know what you're stepping into. Okay, I think the expectation is, you know, we're trying to avoid all the negative stuff when we start. What I just heard you say is, I want to embrace it, because the negative, perceived negative, is actually what's going to make me positive in my bank account. So the sooner at 50 cents, 75 cents a lead that I can, you know, go through underwriting or deal with this, because what I've figured out, you guys, is once they're on the phone, you typically deal with the same stuff. Like I can get a lead that just filled it out and they're going to tell me they didn't do it too. But would I rather do that when I start at 75 cents or 22 bucks? You know, and would I rather, to the point of frequency, right? Would I rather spend my lead investment, say it's 500 bucks, $1,000, would I want to spend all of that on Friday or Sunday night, right? And then go into Monday at zero for my business, like zero for my business expense, but nothing but expectations of deposits. And that's where I felt I was leaving a lot of agents.
Yeah.
When I could have short-term goaled it, said buy 175-cent leads today. Let's work the dog out of those. Hey, and we're going to invest another $100 day after tomorrow. And we're going to work and that's what I'm saying. I was talking to Jay and I was like, dude, how is this happening? He goes, dude, just little chunks, man. You guys come from the old school where you needed to buy all those leads at one time. And I was like, damn, dude, you can learn something from 22-year-olds in business. Makes sense? And it's like, all right, let's do a little bit at a time. So big stuff there, you guys. All right. So now, Bryce, what are some things right now? We're stepping into those leads, right? What are some of the things that I'm going to iron up, you know what I mean, with internet leads, with just age leads in general, right? What are some things that I'm going to sharpen up that I need to be prepared for as I'm walking into that? Like, well, what are my expectations? And what do you tell your new agent getting started with you, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the biggest thing is like, again, you so much confidence comes from experience and reps and having talked with it. So it's kind of like when I have people get their first batch of leads, I'm just looking for that one diamond in the rough. So like grab the low hanging fruit while it's there. Now the rub is that not everybody wants to like actually truly work 150 leads the way they need to find the like, if you buy 150 75-cent leads and you make one sale, you're going to be pretty profitable. So it's like, how fast?
Let's stop there. Okay. This is where emotions have to get the hell out of the business. Okay. They have to get out. 100 leads, $75. Okay. One sell on average is what's the lowest sell you made this year?
Like a super small sale would be like 300 or something during like commission getting paid.
Okay. Time frame to get paid that would be like what? Let's just say 48 to 72 hours that you get paid after you write it. You're going to write that on a Monday. You've spent $75 on a Sunday. Like the return, it's just what in between. That's why I want to slow down right here, is like what in between stops people, right, from getting that ROI. Because there's no way in hell you can't take $75 and turn it into at least profiting 200, right? At least profiting 200.
Yeah.
So in between that stops
Well,
people.
dude, everything under the sun, like everything. And that's that again, that to your point, that's the part that, you know, when you hear all of that stuff, like, I already got this taken care of. I don't remember filling that out. I'm not interested anymore. 5,000 people have already called me. Like, you're gonna hear all of that, right? But at the same time, like, I just think about it like this, dude. I'm not trying to push a square peg through a round hole. Like, I'm just trying to find that one person in there that, when I'm brand new and I don't know how to navigate all this stuff, that if I just go through my script and I just kind of pick up the low hanging fruit, that one person that's like, yeah, okay, cool. You know, and it just kind of works with you. And dude, you think there's not going to be one person out of 150 that is like open to talking about insurance? 7 times this month we had, you know what I mean? Like, all of Jay's guys, when they first do it, there is one. And so, like, cool, let's do that. We got a little bit of confidence. We know that we can do this. We know that people filled out forms. Throw another 150. Let's get a new batch tomorrow. And in the meantime, you've heard all kinds of crap. You've maybe heard some things about different insurance carriers. You've gotten deeper into our calls and learned some stuff about underwriting. Now, I think of it like, if we're just picking up low-hanging fruit, the more stuff that we deal with, the lower that fruit becomes, right? The more of that low-hanging fruit is. Like, I don't know. I'm not like the most clever objection handler of all time. I'm not trying to get really good at like just navigating through all this BS. I'm just trying to find the people that are ready for my help. You know what I mean? But the better I sound, the more confident I am when I'm talking to people, the lower hanging that fruit seems, right? And you think like, man, I'm getting smashed. I'm like, yeah, but you're finding the 1 to 2 people that are ready. Let's just like keep that momentum rolling. And then what will happen is, like, every sale will seem not easy, but it'll be like, oh yeah, that's the person that was with me, right? But you just got to be cool with dealing with the 149 other people that aren't, and then the 147 other people that aren't, then the 145 other people aren't. Like, dude, 2 weeks later, we're making 5 sales a week, but we're getting our butt kicked most of the day. So it can feel rough, right? But now we're starting to create some profitability, and then we have some cash to kind of pour into some quote unquote better leads where you're going to deal with less stuff, but like, you know how to navigate that sale a little bit better. So that's the biggest thing with working those kinds of leads.
Hell yeah. And now I saw Kyle said, I'm exchanging time for money. I'm so about that. Okay.
I am too.
But this is how you get there.
Yep.
Right? This is how you get there. This is the
Dom, and also let's be clear, like, we're not hiring agents that have 15 years of insurance sales experience either. Like, we're talking about mainly all of our 7 riders, that's the first insurance policy they've ever sold. So, you know, you just kind of, I guess, prefer the market that we're working with.
correct. You know? But you do want that. So where Kyle's saying, dude, that's where we all want to get to. You'd be like, dude, and Sean's talking to Jay about like, yo, dude, like, you know, they can get off of those leads, right? Like, you know, that like they can invest more and do more, right? Like, you know, and Sean, dude, I love it, but Jay, he's going to figure it out, right? You're gonna be like, dude, Jay's team's doing 10 million a month. It's going to be because they did a little bit more. They kind of took some of the old school with the new school. Does that make sense? But when your ROI is 10,000%, it's like, dude, why would I change it up? You know what I mean? But I do, but you could make more if it was a little bit less. So, but you do want to caveat this, all right? Because my life, be clear, you guys, I was never looking at selling insurance to be like, man, I'm gonna be selling insurance 10, 12 hours a day. You know, like, I still sell insurance today. I probably sell 20 hours a week, maybe. But I had to work 40, 50 hours a week to figure out how to do telesales in 20. I had to. You know, I had to figure it out. But you have this window. Okay, you have this window to get your cash flow going in this business before confidence just not going to say it dissipates, but it's like a ticking time bomb, right? And I didn't want my whole career to be, man, I'm just on the phone for 10, 12 hours a day forever. Okay, but at the beginning, you may be on the phone 10, 12 hours a day to make 1 sale, 2 sales, But then you take that, what took you 12 hours to do, now it takes you 6 hours to do. Why? Because you doubled up on your leads, you spent more, did less. Maybe you got dialers now. Does that make sense? Maybe there's a whole nother world once you get your things rolling. But I think too many of us are trying to have like our business look like if, you know, they're trying to make it look like the guys that we see or guys and girls that we see killing it. But it's like, dude, that's not how they started. Jonna didn't start with 2 dialers and a CRM, and it makes sense. Like, that's not how it worked. It makes sense. Like, you know, you got to start with where you are, okay, and build that callus up and build that up. All right. But we take that, right? So 2 weeks in, you're maybe doing that, and then you're going to take that into start your real-time campaign. Because guys, going in and buying leads manually is a quick way to never issue pay over $10,000. Like, I don't know, somebody put in the chat if you've manually, consistently issued over 20 grand by manually going on and buying your leads. Okay. I see people who are crushing it, 25, 30 plus $1,000 a month. It's all set it and forget it. Set it and forget it. All right. What we just talked about is how to get off the ground. Okay. There's going to be a lot of communication with your upline, a lot of you going in to figure out leads, all that type of stuff. But eventually you're going to get to a place to where you don't even think about leads. You don't even think about it. You get an invoice, you pay it, it's just rolling. All right. So you take that money that you made from the ILC, age leads, and then you caveat that into a vet campaign, a final expense campaign. All right. And you commit. And I don't mean you got to go on and say, dude, I'm going to get 100 a week. Dude, commit to yourself. Start at 30 a week. Now, that doesn't mean you stop buying the ILC leads. And this is the problem that people make. The issue is that they're spending $400 or $500 on the vet leads, so they stop investing the every other day $150 on their ILC leads. See, that doesn't stop. That's what got us to where we were. So we got to keep doing that. All right. It's not once you buy a new lead, you stop the other. Now, as a new agent, when I started, I thought that's how it was. I thought it was, if I'm running final expense, I must stop mortgage. And that makes sense, right? If you don't know. But then I saw this big hole in my business of like, oh shit, now where'd my leads go? So every time somebody recommends, hey, put this into your business, it's an add-on, never a replacement. Okay. So that 3rd, 4th week, now we got both leads coming in. We got real-time leads coming in, and we still got age leads coming in. Or we still have those coming in every other day. Because you can't, if I put an order in for 50 leads, I'm not going to get all 30 or 40 in the same day. I may get 3 or 4 that day. I may take me 5 days to fill an order of 50. That's not bad, but if I'm relying on that all week, I may have a little anxiety about my life. You know what I mean? So all of these things are things that are going to get you off the ground cash flow, but also in a position to where when you're selling, okay, you can be in the moment and truly, truly sell. All right. And we're going to talk to you. I want Bryce to talk about quality of business and the sits. But if our lead flow isn't right, our sits aren't right, our mentality is never going to be in a clear place to write quality business. It's never going to be there. You'll be squeezing too much. And when you're squeezing on these calls, you write not so good business. You cut some corners. I wanted this deck to be stacked so far in my favor that I could be crazy blunt, crazy straightforward. And I know those ones are going to stay on the books. If I ever felt like, is this life insurance? No, it's the final expense program. That's how I used to be. Just so you know. You might be like, what's wrong with that? That's what I say. I know. Now when they say, is this life insurance? I go, absolutely, it's life insurance. It's the only type of stuff that's going to pay when you die. Versus, let me beat around the bush and just keep calling it final expense. Let me keep beating around the bush and keep calling it state regulated. Now, hopefully you're hearing what I'm saying right now, because these things are what's going to allow you to keep that business and have quality business and the confidence to stay behind it. All right. So Bryce, let's get into, in that appointment, what you're doing, how to get quality of business, and let's incorporate some legacy safeguard, because for me, it's helped out a ton, But for you, it took me from 70% to 80%. Okay, just doing some of these things, but you were already over 80% persistency. And I think adding in legacy safeguard and things like that have helped you take it to, 90 plus, but you were already writing quality business, so walk us through and what do your numbers look like too? You know what I mean? Like, I know there's people out there writing 80, 90, 100 grand a month, but how much do you keep? Makes sense. I want to know that. Bryce writes 30 grand, dude, you might have, I don't know. I think he said, how many chargebacks have you had this year? Like that type of, like, he knows that type of stuff. So like, if you ask me, I'd be like, oh, you know what I mean? But like that's how good the business is. So walk us through your in-home, okay, and how you're incorporating legacy safeguard, building value, and how you close it out at the very end. Okay, what that looks like.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the biggest thing is like once you start to gain some consistency and some confidence in this, you realize that you can get good at taking an application. Like, you get better at your persistency from having a bunch of stuff fall off the books. And we usually make changes when things are going wrong. And I've definitely been there where it's like, dude, I feel like it's like, for me, it was like the 6-month mark where I felt like I was pretty good at getting an application, but it doesn't mean I was writing good business or I was being thorough. And so much stuff was falling off. They're like, man, I thought I had this thing figured out. You know what I mean? I thought that like, this is how, like, I can get to the point where I'm getting them to give me their banking information and sign the app, and now we're good. Right. But again, when you get to that point, you can either, get pissed off at the business and say it sucks, or you can make a change. And one of the things I did early on was like, I just always tried to take inventory or take notes of what stuff I was dealing with in the home. And, whether it was going out and like reaching out to somebody about it, but dude, so much of this business is just like, there's so much good training on YouTube and everything. Like, so many things that I've picked up have just been from just going and researching it and looking at it on my own. So I think my biggest piece of advice for people that are out there and starting to run business with consistency, is like, just pay attention to everything that you're dealing with. Like, anytime you're in an appointment and you feel kind of stuck or not super confident, or you're just kind of pulling something out of thin air just to get through it, like, just kind of like make a mental note of that situation and write it down and like figure out like, hey, what should I be saying here to feel confident and like really have this client be on the same page as me to get through the appointment. And what you realize is that, like, I'm not just trying to get a sale. I'm not just trying to take an app. Like, I really want to be their guy. I want to be their guy for life. And that's kind of my approach now when I'm on the phone with somebody, is like, am I going to be their guy for life? And also, I think a big thing to like just reflect on is when you do help somebody out and you like it, just the whole time they're with you, you know what I mean? You feel really that they're super grateful for you helping them out. They say thank you when you send them the follow-up text, like all this stuff. Like, take the kind of realize like how that appointment went. And the way I look at it is like, that type of person, like, that's my client, right? And so if I ever feel in an appointment like it's not going that way, like they're not on board with me, we're not connecting that well, instead of just like trying to push through it or check boxes or get through the next part, I'm really trying to, I stop and slow down there. Right. So like a big question that I started asking early on, and this may not mean much to anybody. This might just like fall on dead ears. Like, I don't know. But for me, I'm just saying, like, for me, this worked. And where it comes from is I used to struggle with like starting the appointment. Like, I'd start talking with them and then I was like, okay, but how do I get them to really start talking to me about what it is they need and how I can help them? And I heard a training that John Wetmore did. And he said, because he was talking about how we struggle with the same thing. And he's like, dude, I started every appointment by going, all right, so you need some life insurance, huh? Right. And so when I was in the home, and again, that may sound like so simple, but the response that he would get from that was like people would either be like, yeah, and like give him some sort of reason, or they'd give him like, well, I don't know, it depends on how much it costs, right? So the yeah person, that's my client. That's who I'm working with. The depends on how much it costs person, I'm not trying to come up with some super clever rebuttal to like get them all of a sudden interested. Like I'm going to say a couple things to try to bring them on board, but I might walk out of that one pretty quick, right? So for me, how I transition that into telesales is, okay, I mean, obviously I intro, get them to write down my name and state license number. And then the first thing I ask is I go, all right, Dom, so were you looking into life insurance because do you already have some in place and you're just looking to add on some more to it? Or do you not have any set up yet? And I
Hey,
say it just like that.
Role playing. Let's just start from the top and let's just role play it.
Cool.
Folks want to go back and hear this. All right. So I'll
All
be
right.
your ring. Hello.
Hey, Dom, this is Bryce calling for your final expense life insurance appointment. How are you?
I'm doing all right, Bryce.
Cool. Good to hear. All right, real quick. I am going to shoot you over a text. It's just a copy of my California state license. Just I want you to know that I am licensed by the state to go over this with you. So I just want to make sure you got that.
Yeah. I'll check it later.
Do me a favor real quick. Your phone gets text messages, right?
Yeah, but it's kind of my phone's in the other room and I got you on my earbud.
Okay.
Right?
All good. You got a pen handy?
Yeah, I gotta get up and get one. But if I get up and get that, I might as well just get my phone. So
Yeah, go ahead. I'll wait.
let me grab my phone. All right, I got it.
All right. My first name is Bryce, Bryce.
Okay,
And then my last name is Evans, Evans.
got it.
And then my California state insurance license number is 123456.
Okay.
You got that?
Yep.
All right, cool. I'm just required to get that to you, let you know that I am licensed by the state to go over this with you. All right.
Okay.
And then you also have a text message in your messages right now. It's a copy of my state license.
Yep, I see that.
All right, cool. So Dom, just so I know how best I can help you, were you looking into this because do you already have some life insurance in place currently? And you're just looking to add a little bit more to that, or do you not have any set up yet?
I got some, but I just realized it just ain't enough. I need to see how much some more is.
Got you. Okay. So it sounds like you're just looking into adding to or just supplementing what you already had in place.
Yeah, adding.
Okay,
Yep.
cool. Who did you have in mind? God forbid, like when something happens to you, who this new policy, who did you want to leave that behind for?
You know what? This one be my wife.
Your wife? Okay.
Beneficiary on my other one too.
Got you. Okay. And again, just so I know how best I can help, in terms of what you were looking to accomplish with this, was your main concern just covering the initial cost of like your funeral and your final expenses? Or did you also want to leave like some additional money behind to either cover any lost income that you'd be leaving for her or any other like debts or
I got the burial and all that taken care of. This is just I saw something on that thing talking about cash value, right? Like I can grow some money with insurance. That's more what I'm looking into.
So your main goal in terms of looking into life insurance was
for my wife, but I want the one that you said we can grow money into.
Got you. Okay. Okay. And you said you already have your burial and everything already taken care of, paid for?
No, I got insurance. I got like $15,000 insurance policy.
Gotcha. So you have enough to cover your burial, and you were looking at this as just like an extra, just to like leave more behind for. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep.
Got you. Cool. Makes sense. Well, I appreciate you letting me know that. It just lets me know how best I can help you. My job's super simple, Dom. I'm a broker, so I don't just work for one insurance company. I pretty much have access to all of them. They just all have some different things they accept in terms of like health and prescription. So my value to you is to help you, save you all the time of having to go around and find the one that you qualify for on your own. I'm just going to go through a couple basic health questions with you. Make sure you get matched up with the company that will give you the most coverage for the lowest cost. Okay. Like my system is kind of like if you ever got a flight on Expedia, how it gives you like the lowest to the most cost in terms of like what the best recommended flights are. I'm like that for insurance. Okay. So, I'll make sure you get matched up with a company that's going to give you the most coverage for the lowest cost. Once we know that though, Dom, this stuff is very customizable. So how much you want to set up and leave behind for your wife is completely up to you. I'm just going to help you find that balance of what's enough coverage that's going to give you that peace of mind you're looking for. But this also has to be something no-brainer, easily fits in your budget without you even having to think about it. Okay. So once we find that plan that finds that perfect balance of peace of mind and affordability, you understand exactly how it works. At that point, I just help you with submitting a request as an application to that insurance company, help see if they'll approve it for you. That makes sense?
Yes, it does. All right, let's stop there. Okay. Great job, dude. All right. There's a couple things that I want to kind of point out, man, is that anybody notice how he stayed there and reiterated the why maybe 2 or 3 times and got real clear on what insurance I had, didn't just take, I already have it. I know when I started, it was, oh, I got insurance, and I have it would be enough for me. I'd move on. Does that make sense? And then, so it's things like that are going to allow you and your client, right? Because as you kept asking me those questions, Bryce, there was a piece of me that goes, yeah, I kind of already answered that. But also a piece of me that went, damn, he really cares.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody notice that? And this is role playing, and I'm just like, and I'm like, dude, like, okay, God, are you clear enough? Like it's super clear, crystal clear of what the problem is, what the solution we're going to help you out with is. Okay. Those are pieces, you guys, that I used to kind of tiptoe around. When I used to talk about setting the structure, I don't know, maybe I'll omit that part. Maybe I'll wait to tell them that we're going to take the app and I'm going to need all that till we actually get there. Maybe the price will get them to agree with me. Can anybody relate to that? So,
well, dude, it's again, like 4 years later, it's all this stuff that has come back and bit me in the butt, and it's like, let me just get crazy out in front of that. That's all it is, dude. What quality business is asking good questions and getting out in front of all the stuff that could come back later. And again, dude, that's why I'm big on just go out there and make a big mess of it, have crazy activity, run a bunch of appointments, get bit in the butt a lot, and realize what kind of things you need to kind of slow down on and be more thorough about. Like I already have insurance, like, okay, cool. Let me just add some more. Like if we don't pinpoint what they're for early on, it's just going to come back later. You know what I mean? If I didn't have you write down my license number, then, how do I know who you are? Like, let's slow down and let's get that. Like all that stuff.
Oh, hopefully y'all got that part. I tried to throw them off at the beginning by just saying, I'll get to it later. How many of you guys, myself included, on telesales had I'll look at that later, took it, and then wondered why you wasn't closing no damn deals? I'll raise my hand. All right. Like, damn, you know what I mean? Like that, like it's that important that, hey man, I'm just going, nah, man, you want to just go grab, you got a pen? No, shit, if I got to get a pen now, I might as well just go get my phone. Like, you'd be so surprised what your clients will do when you lead them. Lead them. Bryce, take us to, I wouldn't say close, because I think your close was really the structure and stuff like that. We sold it, right? Like, all right, take me through the,
Before we pick options.
Yeah, but before you pick options and then they pick one, you did everything, and I think this is a big piece of why your business doesn't get replaced is the end.
Yeah.
Right? I think everything before is educating them on what we're going to do today, how it's going to work. But the back end keeps me from calling your client and replacing your business.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll start with like picking the option because it's all tied into that.
Yeah.
So let's just say like typical final expense client, right? Let's say we're looking at 20,000 Eagle Premier, right? Whole life. So Dom, here's how this plan is going to work. All right. I want you to write this down. And dude, I still write this down. Like as I'm talking to them, I'm writing this down just from, because when I was in the home, I used to write it down and then flip it over and show them on the paper. Like, here's how your plan works. So I just, by habit, I write this on their paper. But I go, all right, Dom, so here's how this is going to work. Your coverage is permanent. That means it's never going to expire on you. It's always going to be in place. Okay. It's also level. So what level means is that your coverage never changes and your price never changes. So your coverage never goes down, your price never goes up, okay? It's also going to be immediate. What immediate means is there's no waiting period for the death benefit. So God forbid you pass anytime soon, the full amount of coverage is going to pay out, okay? Here's why that's important. Because when we get off the phone, you are going to continue to see ads in the mail. You're going to see stuff on TV. There might be something that looks way better than this, okay? From like a price per the amount of coverage standpoint. Anything that seems too good to be true and is way different than this, because like I said earlier, insurance is extremely standardized. So from one company to the next, assuming the plan does the same thing, the price per the coverage is basically the same. So anything that looks different than this, what it is, it's a plan that's going to be putting you on a 2-year waiting period, okay? So that means that if you die within 2 years of starting the plan, then the full coverage is not going to pay out. So those ads you're seeing on TV, anything that just says, hey, fill this out and you magically get insurance, those plans are all going to be putting you on a 2-year waiting period. So the important thing about this plan is that it's immediate day one coverage. Does that all make sense, Dom?
Yes, it does.
Okay, cool. And then just something else real quick. This plan is also going to come with an enrollment into a membership that's going to basically just give your family access to a team that will help them take care of all the final arrangements from like an administrative standpoint, if they need that, right? So you can think of it like this 20,000 of coverage, that's going to cover the financial side of you dying. The legacy safeguard, which is the membership that comes with all of our clients' policies, that's going to take care of the administrative standpoint. Okay. So I'll go over that in a little bit in a second, but just know those two things come with this.
You mean my wife won't have to, well, she's going to get the money still, right?
Yeah. So when you die, Dom, she's going to get a check for 20,000 from Americo. And then there's going to be a number that she can call that will help her with getting the claim filed for the insurance or whatever else she needs done, like finding the funeral home, negotiating the rates, everything like that. So Americo takes care of the cost of your burial. Legacy Safeguard gives her a team that will help take care of all the administrative side of your burial. Does that make sense?
That's massive. That's we had to do all that from my mother. So I wish we would have had something like that for her. She had insurance, but I still had to call the funeral home. I still had to do all that. And that's just nice to know that my wife won't have to deal with that.
I wish I had it for my dad. There's a bunch of stuff that we had to deal with that, it just kind of hits you out of nowhere. So just to know that there's a team of professionals that do it all day, every day, that's literally all they do, that are on standby for you to call at the drop of a hat to help you with that, to help your wife with that. It's going to help her out a lot.
Right on.
So, I mean, that's how I like explain before I have them like pick numbers. That's how you explain how the plan works, right? Then let's say pick the 20,000. Okay. Do the application. So after like I get that approval, right? Application's finished. I go, all right, Dom. So here's what's going to happen from here. I'm going to send you a text message just as like a summary of what we applied for so you can have something in writing. Okay. Again, we set your draft for the 3rd. So that's tomorrow. So you'll see the first payment reflected in your account within about 48 hours. The policy is going to come to you in the mail. Usually takes about a week and a half to 2 weeks for the policy to get mailed out to you. So again, it's with Americo. It's going to be in a big white packet. When you get your policy, Dom, make sure you take a look at it, read through it. Let me know if you have any questions about it at all. I am more than willing to jump on another call with you to review this policy if you feel you need to. Okay. The other thing is make a note inside the policy of my name and number, because the most important part of my job is making sure that on the day that this is needed, your wife has somebody to contact to make sure that she gets help with the claim getting filed on time and correctly, the check getting delivered as fast as possible. So just know that my job doesn't stop here. I'm here with you for life. And the most important part of what I do is making sure that I help your wife with everything with the claim. Literally right before this call with you, Dom, I was just helping the granddaughter of one of my clients get a check and make sure that everything gets handled. Okay. So just know that that's what I'm here for. So it's just important when you get that policy to make a note inside that so she knows that. And then when you get your legacy safeguard letter in the mail, keep those two together. Okay. And think about it like this: legacy safeguard takes care of the administrative side, the logistical side of your death. The Americo takes care of the financial side. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Cool. Well,
And
I do want to say thank you for trusting me enough to allow me to help you and your family with this. And I'm going to shoot you a text right now. Just know I'm always here for you. Okay.
now this is the part, you guys, with that they're over the top thanking you. When I was selling insurance previously and I was closing deals, maybe 30% of my clients thanked me. Still sold them, but were they genuinely thankful? I have to say no. I have to say no. It was a transaction. This adding legacy safeguard in, showing them the benefits. When we're done with that, we're role playing. I wanted to say thank you so much. You had me thinking that you actually called somebody just before me and helped them out with a damn death claim, bro. I forgot we was damn doing this thing. Okay, I'm just being real. But that's how that's how this thing moves people. And persistency is directly correlated to the relationship that you had with them, that 30-hour on the phone, that 30 minutes to an hour that you had with them on the phone. Because you notice Bryce didn't. Now you offer up the follow-up. You offer up to call me. Dude, I've had 0% of clients call me and want to go over their policies.
The same.
0%. But 100% I tell them I will. Makes sense. But before, when I was afraid that, like, I was just happy I sold it, dude, I was just trying to hang up the phone as fast as possible, see if they would pay me. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But it's slowing down and realizing, dude, we really are helping people. We're not sneaking it. We're not sneaking in there with something and coming out with something else. Somebody put on here, your pitch was direct and to the point, and so was the close.
Mm-hmm.
When it's direct to the point and the close is there, persistency is through the roof. But if it's all this elusiveness, you're going to be wondering why 60% is on the books and then you hate all your clients because, you know, they're broke. They can't afford it. And I want to close out with this, Bryce. Talk about draft dates. So I think that's another big piece in this thing. All right.
Yeah.
Do you have many draft dates? How do you get them? When you do have them, how do they come? And let's walk us through that. Because to have,
well, I think when it comes to draft dates, like the big, like if they're going to happen, you know what I mean? I'm not going to say I don't ever do draft dates. I'd be lying, you know, but the biggest thing is like my biggest problem when I first started, when I had a lot of draft dates, was I was offering them. I'd be like, okay, when do you want to pay? So now when I get to the part, what?
That was your close.
Yeah. When we got to the payment part, I'd be like, all right, we're at the last section, which is just setting up the payment. When would you want this to come out? Oh, 45 days from now. Oh, I can only go 30. What do I do? You know what I mean? And so, so now when I get to the payment section, I go, all right, Dom, last section is just setting up the payment for this. Okay. The default option is that if it's approved, it's going to take a day or two to process. And then that's when the first payment would be made. And then since today is the second, the recurring payments are just going to be on the second of each month moving forward. All right.
Yes.
Cool.
And if I have a problem with that,
I wait. I mean, I give them a chance. You know what I mean? I told them about how it's going to work, but I still give them like, just making sure you know. Is that cool? Like, you got it? All right, cool. And then that's it. And then I don't say anything else. Now, if you had given me something that, you know, we talk about it, right? Well, when do you get paid? Well, I'm on the 3rd. Okay, dude, it's tomorrow. I'll set it for the 3rd. No big deal.
yes.
You know what I mean? Or the second Wednesday of each month. Okay. If you're like, I get paid on the 1st, I'm like, that was yesterday. What happened?
Thank you.
You know, that's probably somebody that I'm just like walking away from. Like, do you literally always just go and run to the bank on the first, like at 7:30 a.m. and wait in line at the bank and the first one there and grab all your money out every day? Like this is going to be a problem. So let's figure it out now. You know what I mean? So it does kind of depend on where you're at in the month to kind of figure that out. But the biggest thing is just telling them how the payment works and just kind of getting their feedback instead of offering it up.
Dude, that was my close. You want to have a 50% placement and even worse persistency? Close that way, okay? It was horrible. All right. So always just tell the client how it works generally. Okay. And then if they have anything to say back, they'll say it. But you'll be so surprised the people that you were offering these draft day suits didn't even need them.
How many Social Security clients on the 22nd are like, okay.
Yeah. Like you just think because they get paid on the 3rd that they're broke off. They're not. But if you give them an option to pay on the 3rd, they're always going to choose the 3rd. So what I'll say is, hey, so Bryce, today, say it was the 22nd, right? Hey, Bryce, today's the 22nd. They're going to process your premium, won't be the 22nd, probably like the 23rd, 24th. Over the next two or 3 days, you'll see it on your bank account. The future ones, would you like a specific date or would the 22nd of every month work for you? Like, I'm giving them choice, but not the first one. There's so many different ways to make this thing happen is what I wanted to give you an example of.
Yeah.
Okay. Way Bryce did it. You know what I mean? So just use these things to just not offer them up. And this will lead you to higher persistency, your clients for life. All right. And you, year after year after year, not having to do more to make the same. And that's where a lot of people end up. They have to work more because of all the money they lost. We want to help you keep it. How about work less because of all the money you kept? Who wants that problem? Let's go. All right, Bryce, you killed it freaking tonight, bro. Killed it. All right, great job.
This was absolutely great, man.
Great job today, man. Everybody, thanks for having us. All right, and Bryce, keep killing it, brother. Peace out, guys.
Bryce, great call tonight, man. I think every new agent needs to see this. Awesome. Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having us.